Learning paper for Magadi Special School, Quarter 1, Upholstery. Page 2, number 1, History of the footstool, 3200 AD. Footstools were already known in ancient Egypt, and they believed that the soul rested on a footstool. Different symbols were carved into the footstools of emperors, telling their family stories or past events. They were considered a family heirloom and were passed down from one generation to another. 16th century. The footstool was reborn in the 16th century when it was used for different purposes, as a footrest, child seat, or a convenient and easily transportable chair. 18th century. In the 18th century, the use of fireplaces increased, and so footstools were widely used since they were usually placed next to them. 19th and 20th century. The footstools were now also being used as an accessory. Some footstools were upholstered in velvet or leather and thus even softer and more comfortable. Modern day. The modern footstool combines tradition and innovation, decoration and functionality, and is an object found in almost every home. Safe practices in the workshop. The following are some general points which should be observed to ensure that work equipment is safe and does not present a risk to those who come in contact with it. Maintain equipment in a good working order to avoid presenting a risk of injury. Use equipment only for what it was made for. Develop a planned preventative maintenance program to ensure equipment is kept in good repair. Ensure workers who carry out repairs, modifications, maintenance, and servicing are competent. Keep records of maintenance checks, examinations, testing, and servicing. Make employees aware of any health and safety risks associated with work equipment. 3. PPE, personal protective equipment. 3.1. Employers are required to train each worker required to use PPE. When it is necessary, what kind is necessary, how to properly put it on, adjust it, wear, and take it off. The limitations of the equipment, and then the proper care and maintenance, like the lifespan and disposal of equipment. Page 4, 3.2, PPE used in the upholstery workshop. Hard hat, earmuffs, safety glasses, protective mask, safety gloves, and security boots. Incident and accident, 4.1, incident versus accident. Both workplace accidents and incidents are sudden, unplanned events. The difference is that a workplace accident causes harm to a product, process, property, or person, whereas a workplace incident is an event that could have resulted in an accident. 4.2 is examples. The examples of incident: almost slip on a spill. Hammer falls off but misses the worker. Worker does not wear safety goggles, but the wood chip misses the eye. Then examples of an accident: slip on a spill and break his arm. Hammer falls and hits the worker on the eye. He must receive stitches. Worker does not wear safety goggles and a wood chip shoots in his eye. He has to go to hospital. Page 5, 4.3, 7 steps to handle incidents or accidents in the workplace. Step 1, call emergency services. A critical injury or fatality, a fatality means death, the employer must call emergency services and the police have to come if someone died. A non-critical injury or a near miss, not necessary for emergency services and police to come. Step 2, administer first aid. The employer is responsible for ensuring that first aid is provided to the injured person if it is safe to do so. Step 3, secure and manage the scene. The employer is responsible for taking action to secure and manage the scene, for example, clearing employees from the area. Step 4, notify required parties. If person is injured as a result of an accident, employers are responsible for recording the event. Step 5, conduct an investigation. The purpose of an investigation is to determine the root cause so that steps can be taken to make sure it doesn't happen again. Step 6, prepare the final report. The report is meant to help everyone learn from the accident and prevent reoccurrences. Step 7, follow up on recommendations. Is the employer responsible to act on the recommendations? Page 6, 5, measurement, 5.1, measuring equipment. The first column is the equipment name, then the picture, the use, and then the last column, the care and maintenance, is for all the measuring equipment, not just for each specific tool. 1, a tape measure. Measure large pieces of wood, etc., usually measuring in meters. Then a fabric measuring tape measures pieces with curves, and you can measure in meter, millimeter, or centimeters. A sewing gauge measures smaller lengths like seams and hems, and you use millimeters and centimeters. A steel ruler, so you measure the foam and the material and mark it for cutting, usually in centimeters and millimeters. And then a square ruler, measure foam and material and marking for cutting, making sure corners are 90 degrees. So how do you care and maintain for your measuring equipment? You clean with a lint-free cloth. You keep it dry to prevent rusting. No direct sunlight to prevent stretching. Make sure numbers and marking are legible. Check to make sure the measurements are still accurate. Then measuring with a steel ruler and a fabric measuring tape. So the steel ruler measures small straight pieces of fabric or material, and a measuring tape is for curves. Now the steel measuring tape measures big pieces of wood and other large materials. Page 7, 5.2, basic units of measurement. So your 3 basic units, millimeter, centimeter, meter. Millimeter, it's for small lengths like seams and hems and buttonholes. Centimeter is a bit longer, but you also measure seams, hems, and pattern pieces. And then meters is for large pieces like when you are buying fabric. Then if you look at the ruler, the centimeter and the millimeter starts on the same line at 0. If you count the first 4 small lines and then the longer line until number 5, it means it's 5 millimeters, also half a centimeter. 6, calculations. 6.1, calculations. First, we're going to convert millimeter, centimeter, and meter. So if you look at the formula, when you have meter and you want to go to centimeter, it's times 100. If you have centimeter and you want to go to meter, it's divided by 100. If you have centimeter and you want to go to millimeter, it's times 10. And millimeter to centimeter is divided by 10. Page 8, calculating area. In the table, I give you the difference between perimeter and area. So area is just how much you will need to go all around, whereas the area is the whole surface of that piece. So area equals length times width. In the example, it's 10 times 7. That is 70 squared centimeters. Always remember to have your answer squared. Page 9, the last page, number 7, technical drawings. So there is a dice. Then it says top view. So what number will you see if you look from the top? What number will you see when you look from the front? And which number will you see when you look from the side? So top view is what you see when you look at something directly from above. Front view directly from the front, and side view directly from the side.